Welcome to the Fit Femme Project Alignment Podcast. It is here that we cultivate and gather all who have been through it in fitness, relationships, careers, lifestyle changes, and unforgettable crucial life pivots trying to achieve their most sovereign selves. We're here to provide you with thought-provoking, detailed stories and information from truly fascinating men and women from all walks of life, professions, generations, and modern-day sagas who speak to their rawest, darkest moments that made them the strong, decisive, humble, helpful, healing people that they are today. We ask them to hold nothing back because life is a multi-dimensional pursuit to be stronger, healthier, and more aligned mentally, emotionally, and physically. Let's go. Hey, FFP ladies and gents, I know you're out there. I don't know why I keep saying that. But hi, happy, I believe it's going to be Thursday now because I decided to do things my way, as usual. I felt like if we are posting an episode on Monday and then another one Wednesday, there's only one day in between. And I feel, I don't know, because then you got the whole weekend, and then, I don't know, I just felt like I was like trying to squeeze too much in on my Tuesdays. So, you know what? You're just going to have to get through hump day without me. So we're just going to start doing this on Thursdays now, which Mark likes to call it Friday Junior. You can get pumped up for the weekend. So I feel like that'll be better. And plus, sometimes it can take, to be honest, a little while to like edit some of this stuff. And well, you know what? It's not the editing, it's uploading stuff to a program or to the site to publish and to do this. It's like, it takes forever. So I wanted to give myself a little time to do all that. But anyway, so happy Friday, Junior. That's what we'll be calling it from now on. If you don't mind, let me know what you think. But yeah, so this past week, let's see. My mummy was in town. If you guys didn't know and didn't listen to, shame on you, the last episode that we did, it was with my mom. So it's a little bit outside of our wheelhouse of people that we would be looking to, I guess, interview. But we still are interviewing and wanting to talk to people who have had an incredible journey or story. They don't have to be, some big guru. It's more of like a human highlight, I like to call them. Just like the everyday person, the everyday mom who, overcame something incredible. I could keep talking about all that, but go ahead and just listen to that episode. It's a little longer than normal, but I kind of liked that. The conversation just flowed, and she talked about stuff I never knew was really happening when I was growing up, and just how much she really struggled with, a lot of, I think she later finally got, after 20, 30 years of no diagnosis, finally got diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. And she dealt with that while raising 4 children, and just, whoa, my mommy. So go ahead and listen to that and, enjoy that. But yeah, so they were here, and she was with my stepdad, whose name is Dave, and he's just a hoot. He just loves a good time, easygoing, and him and Mark did some golf stuff, boy stuff, while my mom and I shopped and all that. And, ever since Mark and I got this apartment, we've been like, hey, come stay with us. We have that spare bedroom. And, we really want to host people because we love our families, we love our friends, and we just want to, do that. And then slowly but surely, people are finally admitting that they're allergic to cats. I was just talking to, when I was in Nebraska, I was talking to my middle brother. I was staying with him and his wife and all their kids. And, I was like, yeah, of course I'm always forcing people to come stay with me, come see me. And so I was talking about that for the 8th time. And then my oldest niece, Peta, was like, oh, I'm a little allergic. I was like, you are? And then Giselle chimes in, yeah, she is. I am too. And Austin gets sniffly too. And the girls get a little sneezy. I'm like, everybody's allergic to cats. How did I not know this? Like, oh well. But they did have a good time, even though stepdad was a little sneezy. But he did love Walter. He just found him hilarious. He's just a really funny kitty. But yeah, go ahead and listen to that episode. But when my mom was in town, it was just, I just have such a great relationship with my mom, and I could not be more grateful. There's a lot of reasons why I believe that's the case. I won't get into it now, but she was just a really good mom and a good disciplinarian, if I will say that. She did not let me get away with anything. Well, my father either. But she was the one who was, obviously the one who was around more. Walter's trying to jump up here. Nobody. You're making me lose my train of thought. How about we do this? Put you on my lap. Nope. Okay. What was I saying? Trying to kill two birds with one stone here. I'm not sure if it'll work. Yeah, so my mom and I have a really great relationship, and I'm just so incredibly grateful for that, and I'm so blessed to have such a great mom. And if you guys need a spiritual mommy, she can be yours too. I'll share. But she just always gets me in my feels, and she always points out, just like how far I've come. And her just alone being here at our place, and they were our first guests that we were able to host, and I just felt so incredibly grateful in those moments, because I just had been dreaming about something like this for so long, being able to have my family over and accommodate them properly in a nice home and have food for them, be able to do things and not have to go back and forth to the hotel, all these things. And, then again, also being in a really great relationship with Mark, I just really was in my heart this weekend. And one thing started to come to mind where I was really reflecting. Once she left, on Monday, I was really doing a lot of reflecting, and I started to think about this old journal that I had. And if you saw my Instagram stories, you'll know what I'm talking about, because I really wanted to expand on this. I've been thinking about it's one of the last journals I was really writing in, because I journaled for a very, very long time. And this last journal that I used, I have it right here. Oops. It's from First Form. I think I got it when they did an event in Nashville, and you signed up and then you got a free thing. Andy Frisella signed it though, but I just used that journal for quick journal entries, notes with books that I was reading. I was for a couple of years I was reading 24 self-help books a year, sometimes some of them like twice. So I was really in this mode of personal growth before 2020, and no, Walter. And so I used that book for those notes and for ideas, manifestation, things that I am praying for and trying to manifest in my life. And so I was thinking about that recently. I mean, it's only Tuesday for me, but I'd been thinking about it. And I decided to open it up, and I hadn't opened it up probably since the last time I wrote in it. And I just started flipping through the pages, and, all these little quotes from books that I read, and letters to myself, and affirmations. There's a lot of those. But I wanted to basically, this episode, I really wanted it to be about gratitude, because gratitude, as my favorite author would say, it's the gateway drug to awesomeness. Jen Sincero said that, and it's actually the name of one of the chapters in her You Are a Badass book. Definitely pick that book up. I've been really feeling it lately, and it's the kind of book that, for one, it's easy to read and funny. It's really lighthearted and funny, but gets you to think at the same time. And then especially if you're not one to read a self-help style book, which I hate that term. I know there's another one, I just can't think of it. And it's also the kind that you just pick up again once a year or so to kind of refresh yourself, kind of get you back on track of, your own awesomeness. So every so often I'll pick up and just like read a chapter of that. So I read the gratitude chapter, and it's true. Like, gratitude is that gateway drug. And Tony Robbins, I think it was, had said that when you are grateful, fear disappears and abundance appears. Regardless of your current situation, where you're at in your life, you could probably pick out a ton of horrible things that are happening right now. Well, what about my bank account? What about this divorce? Or I broke my leg or something like that. Like, there's plenty of negative to point out, to be honest, regardless of how great your life is. It's really easy to find the negative. But, that's just, don't do that. Gratitude really tells, the universe what you desire, whether you have it or don't even see it yet exist. But it tells the universe that what you desire does exist and that you're open to receive it. So when I was looking back into these old journal entries, I just really was reminded how much I was struggling. At this time, I was a massage therapist. I wasn't in a great relationship. It was really headed downhill pretty quickly, and I held on at this point for another year or so. And I hate to say it like that, but it wasn't great. A lot of good, but just you just know that it's just not the right one. You just know, but you just hold on for. I think at the time I was holding on for security reasons, to be honest. He's a great guy, and that relationship was an important one that I do value now. And anyway. So I was looking back, and I want to read 2 journal entries for you guys because you guys are now experiencing where I'm at in my life currently. So I want to take us back in time a little bit and to show you how effective gratitude and positivity really can be in your life when you stay the course, when you do the work, and you just kind of do what it takes. So this particular one was early June 2018. This is what it says. These are real quick, by the way. It says, I have never been more clear or more specific about my goals and the things I desire for my life. Right now, my bank account is a negative $187, and my paycheck tomorrow will be only $668. I'm behind in my car payment, credit card payment, and every single day. In every single bill that I have. I'll admit, I'll get the rise in anxiety when I miss a payment or can't buy myself enough food, but it's temporary. I know it deep in my soul that this current situation is not how my life will be forever. Everything I do every single day puts me closer to my destiny. I will not fail. I will not live like this for long. I will succeed. I will be wealthy. I will be financially free. Talk about optimistic. I mean, I know that's just how my brain is wired. I am wired that way, and it's true. When you're in difficult times, you just know that it's not going to last like this forever. There's never going to not be another difficult time, but this particular situation, it's temporary, and that got me through that. I mean, Lord. And so in between, and then I want to flip to one that was like literally 10 days later. And in between that, I had a couple notes from books. Some book notes. And this is the quick journal entry that I read on my Instagram story the other day. So you'll know what this is about. But this is like nearly 10 days later. Just the roller coaster I was going through at the time. So it goes, quite the discouraging day. Been crying in my office for about 30 minutes now. 3rd time this week. New record since my marriage. I work so fucking hard trying to dig myself out of this financial pit. I get moments of seeing the light and the other side, but then out of nowhere comes this thing, quote unquote. this thing that's determined to keep me in this hole. I can't eat today because of it. I'm so fucking determined to live the life I'm destined to have. I feel like I'm doing everything in my power to turn this around, and it's just not happening. Am I doing something wrong, or am I just being impatient? What? I have what in like massive big letters, bolded letters. So yeah, I remember having those moments of, okay, this is temporary, I got it, I'm in a good mood, it sucks right now, but I want to enjoy my life at least. And then something would hit and slap me in the face and just be like, yeah, fuck you, not right now. And it just really showed just how determined I was and how hard I worked. And it wasn't until another, a year and a half later that it really started to turn around for me. At least financially, because that's really what I was struggling with at the time. And, one thing I do want to point out is like with the eating stuff, that was my experience where I couldn't eat lunch one day because of it. But I also didn't do a lot of prep. I didn't really prepare anything. I was really bad at that. And looking back, had I had the habits I have now with preparing my meals ahead of time, literally, or just, planning them out or cooking them out, had I had those habits then, I would have been in a much better situation where it would have felt so dire, because the place that I worked at had a little cafeteria, and it was cheap food. I would get a chicken salad pretty much every day. It was like $6-7. So it really wasn't that big of a deal to me. And then again, it's like, well, if you're struggling financially, why are you buying lunch? And all this, y'all, it's a journey. We know that. But I did want to point that out, had I had those, because you can eat for cheap, right? You just got to plan for it. But aside from that, looking back, oh man, I'm just so grateful for where I'm at now, because it wasn't until 2020 when I got my recruiting job. Literally, it was January. Well, I got the call before January, but I started the job January 2020. And I gave it massage therapy. I had known for a while I needed to find something different. It was a lot harder to provide for myself, obviously. And I was like, how the hell am I going to get any other job that's going to, I don't have a resume that has any experience on it other than massage. And so did my research. I did a skills-based resume, and I found a company locally that was willing to do training for noobs like myself. And so I was like, all right, this is scary, but man, I went through a few interview processes, and I remember sitting in the Chipotle. Again, I was eating out. Why do I do the things that I do? But I love Chipotle. It was my treat to myself a lot. But I remember sitting in Chipotle, and I got the call when they offered me the job. And I started crying on the phone. I don't know if she could tell or not, but I was finally, it was so relieved, because I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is it. This is what the light at the end of the tunnel is finally here. I can bust through it and just move on with my life. I just felt so stuck. And I had been single at that time too. I just ended, I'm pretty sure. I had just ended a few months prior to that relationship. And I was sleeping around some couches and all that. And, it was a very difficult time. And I'm just so proud of myself with staying this positive and working this hard to get where I am today. And, when I got that job, of course I still struggled, and, but I was finally able to face my financial problems because I had money to do it. Isn't that funny how that works? But, that is just something I really wanted to talk about. And, looking today, and it's, okay, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, but with all this that has come to light recently and going through all these old journals, and I wanted to show this other part. Sorry, I am jumping around even more. I showed this on the Instagram story too. I'll show it right here on video. Around that time, I think it was earlier, I'll show it on the video, I was writing the affirmation of I earn $5,000 a month. And that was like, that's financial freedom for me. Like, it's not like I couldn't imagine having more money. It was like, you know what? I don't want to sound, I'm not trying to be greedy. Like, this is just what I need right now. This is what would make me feel comfortable. And, you know, I have hit that goal. Like, it's just so cool to look back and be like, I dreamed of this and now I have it. Like, what? And so looking at all this and these journal entries, like, it's really inspired me to get back on it. And I go through those periods of reading and journaling. Don't feel pressure to consistently do it all the time. And so I feel that period re-entering my life now because I've been riding this wave of just awesomeness lately, and not that it's going to go away, but it's like, okay, let's keep going. Let's see how much more I can grow. Let's see how much more I can dream. You know, especially with this podcast, you know, it is definitely a part of my soul and it's part of my dream. And so I'm definitely going to get back into that journaling and, you know, do journaling the way you want to do it, because if you look at this notebook, you'd be like, what the F is going on here? But it was basically that notebook was my catch-all, right? The quick journal entry or the notes I wanted to write on for this chapter of the book that I'm reading. And who knows if I would look back on it or not, but writing things down always helped me remember and for it to stick more in my brain. So I encourage you to do that. And obviously telling my story here, I want to encourage you to look back as well. Look back on those times that were really difficult and you weren't quite sure if you were going to get through them or not, or how you were going to get through them. And look at you now. Look at you now. It's over with. You hopefully are a better person. You've learned from it. You've grown from it. And just remain in that state of gratitude. It's just such a lovely place to be in. And if you are in a difficult moment or difficult period of your life right now, I promise you that it will get better. I promise you. We've all been there. You've been there before with something else. And guess what? It worked out, because things always work out. I had a girl, I think I've talked about this before, but when I was married, sorry, I gotta sneeze. When I was married and about to go through this divorce, of course, that's really scary. I was in my early 20s, and I had a friend tell me, she goes, you know, just for what it's worth, it is scary and it will be hard, but it'll work out. Just tell yourself that it will always work out. Things will always work out. And that has just ridden me through so many difficult times, because it's like, there's nothing else for it to happen. Like, it's gonna work out. It may not work out the way that I would want it to, or expect it to, or hope it to, but it's gonna work out. Like, that's just logic. This situation will resolve. It will. It's just how the world works. So what can you do? You can continue to work hard, learn from this difficult situation. Well, that's the big ones. And then also find the good. Maybe not in that specific situation at the moment. You can probably look back later on and see the silver lining. If you don't see that silver lining now, don't worry about it. That's fine. Look for the gratitude and positivity in other areas of your life. Are you able to provide for yourself and have a roof over your head? And that sounds so basic. And you might be rolling your eyes at it, like, oh yeah, roof over my head. Heard it a million times. Yeah, I'm grateful I can eat. Yeah, I'm grateful for my bed. Yeah. But honestly, just take a minute to be grateful for those tiny things, because I've been without a home before and without a bed and wondering where I was going to go. And I got to tell you, the first time that I finally felt stable, I will never, nothing can compare to that moment of gratitude of being able to have a fucking bed to sleep in. Like, bro, like that, I just remember those moments. That I have a specific moment in mind. Well, okay, two. One was when I got a hotel for a few nights. I could afford that. And I was like, oh, finally I don't have to worry about anything for the next like 2 nights. And then when I got temporary housing with a friend, I was like, okay, we're getting there. Because when I started that job in 2020, I had to find temporary housing with a friend of mine who I actually think is going to be on the podcast. So stay tuned for that. She definitely stepped in and saved me in those days of cheap room to stay in. And I remember just laying there on that bed and just being like, oh, I just can't believe that I have this bed to sleep in for the foreseeable future. And the next one will be even longer I get to stay in. Like, I just wish I could put into words that type of gratitude for something so basic. Like, I know there are some of you out there who know what I'm talking about with maybe that specific situation or something similar, but that's what we're talking about here, is that kind of gratitude of like, I'm genuinely so grateful for my life right now and happy for XYZ. And if you want to write those down, start a gratitude journal, because sometimes you have to do that to help kind of train your brain into thinking a new way, right? Start a gratitude journal and write some things down, whether it's just 1 or 2, doesn't matter. You're training your brain to notice the good in your life. And guess what will happen? I promise you, you'll see more of it, and bigger stuff, greater stuff, more awesomeness. You know what? Hallelujah! That felt like a good old preacher moment. But yeah, please just, be grateful for, the good in your life right now, and it will come back and reward you tenfold. I literally promise you. I promise you, or your money back. You didn't spend any money, so joke's on you. Anyway, again, I talked for this long, and again, thank you for listening with me. Well, listening to me. And, do you guys want to see Jasmine? She usually doesn't appear. Say hi, Jasmine. No? Okay. Again, thank you for listening, and thank you for recommending. And if you could do that, and ratings are really good too, so that helps too. But yeah, until next time, y'all, thank you again for joining. Have I said that enough? Jeez. All right, until next time, y'all, peace out. Thanks for listening to the FFP Alignment Podcast. Please support us by downloading, rating, and recommending us to your friends and family. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at the FitFemme Project. That's FITFEMME Project. And for those of you looking to find their essential balance of lifestyle and fitness, book a free consult by going to thefitfemmeproject.com. That's FITFEMME Project.com and click Apply Now. Until next time, this is the FitFemme Project Alignment Podcast.